Anabelle Munro, thank you so very much for joining me on my show, So Zoom In. And I want to zoom in on all the wonderful things you're doing. Starting off, well, first of all, I have to say, happy Mother's Day. You know, it's Mother's Day weekend, and I know you're a mama, and happy Mother's Day. I wish you all the
to you too, beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, we do a lot as moms, don't we? I mean, and here you are doing amazing amounts of creativity, just like expands from your soul. And I think that's so inspiring. And you have a few things coming up, but in July, you are going to be part of the AOF Megafest with Anabelle Munro's The Most Important Film Festival, or Most Important Films, right?
Right.
Did I get that right? Okay. And you are currently accepting submissions still.
Yes.
And how is that going? And what are you going to be presenting at your film festival?
It's going really well. So you can find the more info about the festival on Film Freeway under TMIF, the most important films. And so we are under the umbrella of the AOF Megafest, and we are our own entity. So we have our own festival director, me, and a beautiful president, which is Suzette Trichet-Stapp, and a wonderful team. We have a honorable judge, Louis Teague. He's a very successful, brilliant director. He directed Cujo, Jewel of the Nile, like a couple of Hollywood classics. And he's just so nice. And so the movies that we want to highlight are the ones that have a message. And of course, we think every movie has a message, but actually, that's not true.
Right.
Some movies are just plainly there to entertain, to kill some time. And then there are the ones where movie makers go the extra mile, to gently weave in some sort of a vision for the future. And they want to make the world a better place. And I know that sounds cheesy, but that's what we are looking for.
Well, we definitely need more of those. We definitely need those messages to inspire people to make the world a better place. Now,
Right.
You have something that I think is really exciting as a prize that has to deal with, do you want to talk about that too?
Yes, absolutely. We just started collaborating with an exciting company called Green Apple Entertainment, and our winner for Best Feature Film will get a first look distribution deal, which is awesome because Green Apple, the person that I'm dealing with, is incredibly kind and helpful, and even you never know, you might not want to do the distribution deal, but you still make a contact there for life, that you can always come back to. It's a really great person.
Well, and that's exciting too, because a lot of people who are first-time filmmakers don't realize all that it takes to get it to get distribution. It's almost as complicated as getting the film made. I mean, there are just so many different parts to it. So I think that's an incredible offer, if anything, just to talk with this person and find out more of what can be done.
Absolutely.
So during your festival, you're also going to be having several panels and seminars, I believe. What are some of the things that someone can look forward to?
Well, first of all, we have a beautiful exhibit featuring somebody that we all know. By you, because you're a phenomenal artist.
Oh, thank you.
Next to being a brilliant writer and wonderful actress and director as well. So my festival, or I should say ours, because it's not just me, it's like a big team effort, right? But we really want to highlight the all-round talent that usually comes with a passionate filmmaker, and highlight those sides that usually stay a little bit behind the camera and like further hidden, but they are integral part, of a filmmaker's journey. Right. So we have an art exhibit with your wonderful art, and we're going to have a panel with you as well about composition and how your art and your artistic eye influences, the choices for framing and corporate identity, because color, composition, it's just so important. Right. Then we have, of course, the Hollywood panel with Louis Teague and our wonderful friend Lorraine, U is the director of the Las Vegas Asian Film Awards. She has a brilliant celebrity honorary judge as well, Roger Christensen. We are teaming up with a collaborative panel where we talk about, what it takes to succeed in Hollywood, because we have two very experienced, seasoned directors. Roger Christensen directed Friends and Hannah Montana. So it's like, they know the machine and the animal of Hollywood, and they have a lot of interesting stories. And what I love most, and I only know Louis in person, Louis is he loves people and he loves to help, and is really smart and kind. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be exciting to just have the opportunity to have a Q&A with somebody like this, who is honest and very humble and sweet and listens.
That's huge. When you have
and then women in film, of course, that's the other panel that I want to have every year and had in the past, where the females get together. There's a different vibe. It's fun, and the topics are slightly different.
Right. Well,
it's.
So what are some of the topics we can look forward to this year?
With the women in film, I don't know yet, because we're still getting the last guests, but it's definitely financing will play a role, because we have the wonderful Laurel Adler being part of this festival, and she knows so much. And there is an angle to being a woman that is maybe underappreciated sometimes, because there's a lot of, talk about how women have been sidelined, but there are also avenues that women carved out in the industry to actually have a little bit of a head start. Sometimes there's special funds. It's not going to be just about financing. It's just owning your femininity within the industry and just choosing the joyful, peaceful path, in collaboration with men, rather than getting stuck in the whole, we feel we're like second best,
or getting bulldozed and doing things you don't want to do because the men want to trump you. I mean, how do because you are a screenwriter, an actress, a producer, a director, you do it all. And so when you have to work with men in your crew and stuff, how I like to think that it doesn't make a difference if you're male or female, that you're just all working together as team players. But is there a huge difference when you are, working those long hours trying to, make a movie happen?
I do feel there's a different approach. I myself have been very lucky to always have a very balanced team with lots of women and lots of men, and I didn't really have the issues. I do think there's a different approach where women tend to question their choices a little bit more. And also, I do feel there is a concern that a woman comes across as bitchy when she is in charge, which you need to be in film. So I kind of have two different faces, Gemini rising, where like all smiley and welcoming and everybody, I would want to listen to everybody. But for example, when I'm stepping into the director role, listening to everybody, unfortunately, is not a good idea, because it throws off the vision and it also wastes time, because you do need to have a clear strategy and vision in place. And co-directing is fine, but you cannot ask everybody for their opinion. So when that switch happens on set, some people got irritated in the past where they were like, oh, why is she so bossy? But you just have to be very conscious of, I feel I have to be very conscious of the time, to stay within the time frame that we have, to be really clear with what I want to walk away with in the scene. And I worked with you as an actress, for example. When I notice that there is the wrong tone, or that the actor is like going off in the wrong direction, or it feels insincere, I'm cutting straight to the point. However, I'm trying to help them get as fast as we can, you know, to the goal, you know, like what does the character want? What's the objective in the scene, and what comes across? And I'm the one who has to give the actor the feedback, you know, so it's not always a nice job. And I know maybe that's the German upbringing, because it's like straight to the point, versus in America, I noticed when I took acting classes and also with the directors, it's a more, you know, like gentle approach sometimes, but also not always. I'm more the straightforward person. So that can be misconstrued as bitchy if you're a woman. Whereas
a man gets
when
away
you're
with
a man, I think it's like more a positive thing, you know, somebody's in charge. Yeah.
Well, you figure if you're working on an independent movie, which we work on, you know, you have a limited amount of time, a limited amount of money, and you pretty much have to get the job done right away. So you have to make quick decisions. You know, I don't think you really have time to listen to everyone's input. And then
that's right.
You know, that's, you know, you make decisions, and that's what you're doing the job for. That's what you're hired for, you know. And so, and I always think it's interesting how everyone always has input, which is great, you know. But they can
in pre-production.
Right, exactly. A time and place for that, because you know you have to get on it. And you know, having worked with you, as you know, when you directed me in that scene, you know, as an actor, I prepare and I think, okay, I'm making these choices and these will work. But then, you know, when we worked together and you took an entirely different direction that I hadn't even really considered, and I would just like, I felt like I just put myself in your hands. It's like, okay, so I'm just going to allow you. It's like, if you want me to go this way, fine. If you want me to turn around and go that way, fine. And to have that kind of trust with someone, I felt made a huge difference.
Absolutely. You committed completely. I love that. And you see how the scene came out, right? It took us both to a place that we didn't expect, because for me, as a director, I have to be very on guard, right? Because I know, okay, I have this actor and this actress, they're the first time together in the scene. And this is the result that I want on screen, no matter which direction it goes. I don't know what the choreography is going to be, but I do know that, especially as an independent filmmaker, if I deliver phony stuff, right, where people are like insecure with the lines, or they have a shyness that they have to work their way through, you know, that's my responsibility to get authenticity and a truth. So like baseline, if I accomplish to find a truthful moment in that scene, we are already rolling with it. And then you give me your choices, the partner gives me his choices or her choices. And then I have to figure out, okay, how do we just make it flow, that we get over that beginning hurdle and the scene gets its own dynamic so that it's authentic. And then once it's authentic and the actors both are in the flow, then I can take out like distractions or work on the framing or like infringe you a little bit, you know, but it's kind of like a in the moment scenario, right? Because every actor is different, and especially the chemistry between two actors is like that third surprising element in the room, and you kind of gotta see what happens.
Right. Well, I just think it's amazing because you're dealing with so many different elements at once, and then you're still, you know, then you have to deal with sound and camera and, you know, location and, you know, ambient noises. And I mean, there's so many factors going on that I don't think people really realize all that goes into it. So it's a huge undertaking, you know, no matter how long the project is. So I'm so proud of you, because you seem to do movie after movie after movie. I'm like, yes, go.
It's coming together. Yes, it's a team effort, right? And I noticed those things come often together when one like takes off the ego and me first hat and just tries to help others first, because then there's a chance to really connect with another person and figure out how can I serve. And through that, you know, my own core strength emerges, and you know, if you give good, you receive back, you know, and if you're honest and truthful, you get that what's meant to be for you.
And those are all key words, you know, strength and being honest and, you know, really standing in that, truth part, it's like, really knowing what your boundaries are and, what you want and how people are going to work with you to get it. And you do that, you make that happen again and again and again. And okay, and you've also written books, and you have books in your wheelhouse also. And it's like you just keep going. And I love seeing how you have grown as an artist with all these different projects. And so, okay, going back to your festival, how long have you been doing the most important films?
3 years. So, and actually it looks like 2 seasons, because the pandemic season, we ended up merging the 2020 and 2021 season, because we felt we really don't want to go the online route, even though I'm super grateful that this is there for filmmakers. Before, there's nothing, but also there is a big difference to being in the room. And as I said, the connection between people and being eye to eye and having that one-on-one and feeling each other's energies and, seeing if there's a work friendship maybe ahead makes such a difference, and it can change careers. And in a life scenario where you're sitting next to somebody, there's just a big difference, than being in a Zoom chat room, and then people can swipe you away and your connection is gone. So we wanted to have that. So we have 2 seasons in one this year.
That is so important, to have that human connection, and it gives you a chance to really feel each other's energy too. All right, so you are working on a couple of projects this month, right? May seems to be very, very full for you. Well, it seems like you're gonna be very busy, until the film festival. What do you feel like you have to prepare for to get through that festival, or to get to the festival? Because you have like 2 film projects right now that you're working on, I think, or
yes, like actually more, because I'm a producer, right? So I have I see gardening. So the garden is pretty much laid out, and there's some trees, and there's some the annual flowers, and the bushes. So there's actually quite a few projects in various stages, right? From scripts to scripts with decks to just coming on as a producer on somebody else's. And then the other thing where I just was an actress is in post-production, but I'm also a producer on it from that side. There's another project in Kenya. And then some more legal stuff. Then there's a feature film I'm producing in LA, where we're close to finally signing our star, which is a really well-known star. So knock on wood, because we're in talks right now, and put the offer in. Then the Old King Cole, the movie that we shot, is in post-production at the moment. The Weight of Perfection, a short film that's super close to my heart and that I co-directed with Leanne Melissa Bishop, is in the festivals at the moment. So the tour is starting after the COVID break, and we're getting selections and nominations and awards. So one has to show presence too. It's a lot. I could go on, but it comes off as braggy, and it's stressing me out because I'm anxiety. It's so much.
But this is what people dream of doing, and I don't think a lot of people realize all the work that takes. And so you dream about doing all this, and when it's happening, there are just so many different steps. So you really have to know how, what everything is, and can't talk now, compartmentalize everything. Now I have to ask, what inspires you to do all this? What drives you?
I know it sounds weird, but it's the book, you mentioned the book that I wrote, the book series, because there are more coming out, and all my work, from my festival, message driven. So my book is about recovering from an eating disorder. When I was a teenager, I had an eating disorder. I completely recovered without telling anybody, going to therapy, nothing. I just figured out how it happened through trauma and neglect. And I was an atheist at the time, after being a God-loving child, naturally, had nothing to do. It was just me loving God and losing that, becoming sick, figuring out a system to heal myself and finding my true belief and faith in God again. It's like a reborn Christian without the Christians. It's just me and God, and also Jesus. So that knowing purpose, understanding purpose influences everything. And I do believe that being a filmmaker and creating with light and telling stories is exactly the experience we have here as human beings, where we watch the movie of our lives unfold and the characters, you know, and there is always a lesson. I learned from my recovery that literally every conflict and every problem we encounter has this specific lesson for us. And once we learn it, next level, right? So I feel like it's a school and it's entertaining and it's heartbreaking and we have all the drama and all of that. So filmmaking, it was a deliberate choice from just being an actress and finding it very healing to express myself as a young person to, hey, man, I'm a storyteller and I can tell stories just like the Greek classics, where I can warn people, inspire people, wake people up, or put people gently to sleep, whatever is, you know, helping us all to grow and learn these lessons, maybe without having to really be in so much pain. You know, we can watch others being in pain. So the divine reason and spark why we're all here is definitely the inspiration and nothing else. And love, more peace, more listening, more understanding, and bringing that in the work. And of course, entertaining as well, because you got to laugh too.
Right. And I think that's so beautiful. Once you find that connection with source and with God, you could do anything. Oh, I lost you. Are you there, Annabelle? Come back. Come back.
Amy is calling.
Oh.
Amy Lee McCorkle.
We love her.
Amy.
Amy, we love you.
Come join us on Zoom, Amy.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. We'll have to do that.
I'm working with Amy too. She probably got ready as when I was talking about decks and projects.
Gemini rising, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rising.
Yeah, exactly. I read. She let me read that script. It is awesome. That's
I know.
Really good. Really good. You'd be perfect in it. I'm so excited.
Great.
Okay, so you are doing all these things. All right. So say a young woman comes up to you, and she says, I want to do what you do. You know, I want to be actress. I want to be writer, producer, director. What do I do first? Where do I start?
Good question.
Right.
Doing it in the ways that you can do it, and loving it and loving yourself, not in a narcissistic way, but in a sincere friendship kind of way, and owning it. Owning it is a very, very important part. You know, when I went to drama school back in the days, many moons ago.
Not that many. What are you talking about? Not that many.
There were these friends of mine, you know, who would always say, in drama school already, they got accepted, they got in, right? And they were like, one day I want to be an actor. It was always intriguing to me, because I'm like, dude, like, you're kind of in drama school and you are an actor, you like act every day on stage. So this whole big golden cow thing about being an actor, I never really understood. And I think it probably served me well to accept, if you want to do it, there's no magic potion or big hoo about it. If you can imagine that this could keep you happy, you know, because it does come with a bag of salt for sure, because the rejections that you're going to receive, and that how to stay inspired, right, when the phone doesn't ring. Is there a way you can build it that you don't need to sit in front of a phone waiting until it rings, right? All these questions, you need to have a really good self-confidence without being like getting a big head. You know, it's like that fine line. So the inner work of being an actor, I think, is very important, to be balanced and to have that healthy relation to yourself. Because if you start self-loathing when you're not getting the jobs, and you start feeling victimized, or then this can actually be a hellish undertaking, right? And a lot of actors get depressed, or they feel they have to play the game where relationships become insincere because they want to get ahead, and then elbowing begins, and that might work in the short term, but in the long run, it is good to be a good person and try your best, just in like everything else. Like, be kind, do your best, do your homework, be prepared, be on time, like the same rules.
Yeah, be courteous. Yeah, if you can't make make a time, let them know. Don't blow them off. Well, it depends, if you want to work with them.
And then the rest will fall into place, because in UCLA, I remember my teacher in the business of Hollywood says, it's not just about who you know in the industry, it's about who you know and who likes you. So there's that second element, because you might be very well known in the industry and people say, don't trust this person is crazy. So you want to really have an integrity as an actor, as a producer, as a writer, as a person. And then over the long run, if you stick with it, and keep on working on your craft and staying inspired, creating good work, sooner or later, things will fall into place.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would think that would go for anything that someone wants to get into. And integrity is crucial. And I agree with you about self-love. If you hate yourself, you're not going to get anywhere. And this business is all about collaboration. So I've heard more horror stories about people who think they're all that, and things. People may work with them and get paid high dollar, but they talk about badly about them behind their back, or things just there's like that negative energy. But to be in space, and that's just but you create what's that?
It's a mess in the industry, right? Because there's this if there's a devil, right? The one-liner, if I had to make a little devil cartoon, like whispering in somebody's ears, is, but everybody's doing it,
right?
Or doing it.
Or think of it as acting. You're an actress. Pretend it's acting.
Right.
But you have such a love and joy about you naturally. So wherever you go, you just share that. That's part of who you are. But to be able to accomplish so much, it's like to be loving and caring and be that bright light, but know that you are going to get things done and you're going to work together with someone. And you accept nothing less from anyone else. And I think those are really key ingredients to having a successful production. And you make that happen, which is like,
it's actually the other people making it happen. I really have to give credit to all the amazing people, that I meet and that are out there for everybody to meet, it's a lot, as we keep on saying, it's the teamwork where you build a trust relationship with somebody and your colors show. And if you bet your money on the right horse, I don't know if that's the English correct saying,
that's right.
German, it makes sense, then it will reflect back on you, and you cannot really plan it that way, but you can trust on a bigger level that if you are sincerely wanting for other people the best, that it will always bring back the best to yourself.
Right.
So it's like, I'm not recommending to slime ball people, because you're actually just waiting, because it will turn into hell as well, because that will never come. It's like the golden carrot. If you have like devious like thoughts saying, if I do that, you make a little sneaky deal. You have to honestly really surrender and humble yourself, and that's the only way it turns out, at least in my life, to come back. Gotta let it go, the outcome, and then it can come.
Right. And that's so true. That is so true. And then why waste energy on being negative when you can be so constructive about it?
Planning, or scheming, where it's there, because some people do that too, where they like support somebody, but they're just waiting, and you can feel it. It's palpable and it's interesting, for the payback. They're like, they're like, you're so great, la 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 la. But it's like, they're waiting, and it can't come this way. Or when it comes, it's not going to be good. There's like some bad juju related to it.
There's enough bad juju. We need to transmute that into good juju, everywhere. But you are really focusing on the good. And how did you come up with the most important films? I mean, how did you come up with that title?
That was Del Weston.
Oh, really? Okay.
Del did it because I had a different name initially in mind, like Big Picture or Game Changers or something like that. But then Del Weston is my beloved best male friend, BMF, and also an amazing mentor and inspiration, great actor too, and director and writer. Love his writing. He then after I said, look, I want to have my festival, this is what I had in mind, and then he set up, no, we're going to call it Anabelle Munro's The Most Important Film. So he put my name in there, which I'm like, no. I don't know. It's vain. And he insisted that he just wanted to have that in there. And since the opportunity came via Dell, I was like, maybe I'm going to breathe my way into this name. So I toned down the Anabelle Munro a little bit, because it's not about me. But then again, I honor my friend wanting to honor me as well. So it's still there. And The Most Important Films was what I made all big. TMFI. TMIF. The Most Important Films.
It's important to have your name on it, because that's part of your energy, and you have this great energy about you that you're sharing, so it's, it works.
I'm like, So it's easier actually to say that about somebody else than about yourself. And I try to, accept that from Dell, and I would have not chosen that, but I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it.
And when people who go to your festival, they will meet other people, and you empower people. You don't put anyone down. You encourage them to do what they feel they have to do. You inspire them. So that's beautiful. You're sharing that energy, and we all have past stuff that are obstacles to overcome, and you had some really tough obstacles, but you overcame them, and now you're able to share that wisdom and still have that light, especially as women filmmakers, because all right, I know there's women in media, women in film, and all these women come together to work together, which is great, but you are working in groups. I like to think that you don't make it about I'm a woman or I'm a man, but you make it about the talent. And I think that's what's so inspiring, because you're doing the work, and I want more people to become aware of that. It's like, okay, it's not that you're a man or that you're a woman or you're this or you're that, but you have the talent to get the job done and to be part of the team.
That's right.
And that's one of the things I really love, because it's like you're an artist.
You're so sweet. Thank you. That's a great compliment. I wish, everybody would think this way, but as it is in life, I'm sure I've offended people and hurt people's feelings. And said the wrong thing in the past. So I'm not like the holy saint or something like that, but I'm striving to be. There's another line, right? Like when you debate with people about being kind or being good, and I'm not a saint. People like my husband says that all the time. I'm not a saint, and I'm like, why don't you try to be one? You can at least try, right? Like it's easy to say I'm not a saint, but you can at least try. So I'm not a saint, but at least I try. I try, and it's not easy, because we all have our triggers and whatnot, and especially if you, for example, Del Weston, right? We just brought him up, amazing friend, but boy, did we have like also on set, because we were co-directing Old King Cole, right?
Yeah.
And if you have two strong characters with two visions, trying to work it out, so you're not always.
But you did,
perfect.
though.
Yeah, we did.
And
Right? It's not always pretty.
well, especially when you're working long hours and you're not sleeping very much and you have to get done in a certain amount of time, and fuses get shorter, but still you did it. You made it happen, and you'll do it again, which is,
Absolutely.
and nothing is stopping you guys. You just keep going.
Right.
And just like with your festival, it's going to go on also. I hope it goes on for years and years and years to come.
Oh yeah, I think so. It's the submissions are phenomenal, and I think people really caught on. And it's also obviously my job to define, the brand and learning over time. Oh, that could be misleading. Let's edit this again, and it becomes clearer over time and with feedback that you're getting, and you see it reflected in the submissions. And I'm so thrilled with what I got. And the judges are excited, and I think we can only grow better from there. We definitely love, the effort that people are putting into their purpose-driven content. That in itself, I'm happy for every submission, even if it's not a fit sometimes, but it's an interesting group of submitters for sure. And then when you get that submission where the quality is in place as well, and where you see, boom, this could go someplace, get really excited, because you're going to make very likely a new friend at the festival, because you see like-mindedness in the work, and it's exciting to meet these people in person and to introduce them to folks. And some of them, like there's one feature film that I got really excited about, Maxi. I don't know if they're going to be listening to that, but this was like a guy whose dream, he studied in LA, and then they moved to a small place. And so he was like, no, I want to honor, my kids are out of the house now. I want to honor what I learned, because I really love filmmaking. So he made this film about two homeless kids with no Hollywood setup, nothing. And it's an amazing film. So I wrote back to him right away, said, hey, I really want to introduce you. And he's like, whoa, in the director's statement, there was this, description of the dream. At least he gave it a shot. And I'm like, man, it was worth it. Come to Vegas. I'm going to prove it. And I'm looking so forward to that. Wow. And then we have a movie from a first-time film director who made a documentary about her father, who is the longest living quadriplegic, right? Oh, wow. So, and I'm reading the description. I'm thinking like, I hope it's, entertaining, because it's 40 minutes. So I'm starting to watch it, and I'm blown away by the quality of this film and this person and the story. And then I'm like researching the filmmaker and find nothing. And I'm like, what? This is such a high level documentary that covers a piece of disability history, actually, of California, with this specific man. And it's done so well, the scoring, the pictures, the interviews she got. And I'm like, why is there nothing about this lady on the internet? So I'm like writing to her, hello, I'm blown away by your film, but I'm also blown away that I can't find anything about you. Let's get together. I see you live close by in LA. And so she's like, oh, I'm so pleased. So we're meeting, and boom, there's now a whole universe opening up, because this lady is so gifted and so connected. And she's coming as well. And that film she has there, she caught something very special. So I'm personally getting a kick out of that, right? Seeing the seed and how it turns into that tree. Wow.
So I think it's amazing that you researched the filmmaker. I mean, people don't do it. Well, maybe they do, but I don't know. But for you to actually go out of your way to find her and then reach out to her, and I mean, that's a winning prize right there. I mean,
it's easy to find her because you put her email on the
well,
submission. Usually you get like a director's bio, right? So that gives you a good overview, and there was just nothing. And I'm like, this is so good. Like, she got me someone who's been doing this for a while. And then the Google, it was intrigued, like, I'm interested.
But that's wonderful, and I bet she's just excited too to meet
Oh
her network
yeah,
expanding because of you. So
right.
that's what it's all about, meeting like-minded people in that creative flow and who want to get something done. So
You have a
that's
passion, they also
mm,
have that fire. And you kind of like sense it when you when you
right.
when you see that fire, like, yay.
You have to do it. It's like, let's do it. So
Yes.
and if you're going to be shy, you have to work on that to really put yourself out there. I mean, it's okay to be shy, but just
It's
know
okay
that
to be shy.
yeah,
Look at Lorraine, right?
right,
Like when I met Lorraine is a
yeah,
producer friend we have
yeah,
and director, brilliant director, and also a festival director. And
mm,
when I met Lorraine,
mm.
she told me I'm shy.
Well,
And
she was
then over the
blossoming.
years, like the 10th time we go to Starbucks and I say, hey, I got this. And she said, no, no, no. Oh, I guess I'm doing the Chinese thing again. I'm being shy. Okay, thank you for my Starbucks move. There you go. It's
Yeah,
like just trusting.
yeah,
Trusting, I think, helps anyone out of the shyness. I'm
right.
shy, believe it or not. I'm just like very good at pretending.
Well, well, I think you're wonderful, and you put yourself out. And I know when we met at AOF in 2019, you were meeting everyone. You were so gracious. You're a wonderful hostess. The queen of the AOF. I have to say that because you had your crown on, and are you going to have your crown on again this year? Right?
I don't know yet.
What?
I know.
No, you
I
have to have
know.
your
I'm
crown
thinking
on.
about it. Like if it goes with the,
Okay.
I have to, I guess.
Well, I thought it was awesome. It was just wonderful, and people recognize you, and if anything, it
Right.
was a way for someone to come up to you and talk to you, um, and there was such a funness about it too, and you're very approachable, and so willing to talk with everyone. And I think that's part of what this is all about: being able to let people know that you are available to talk, and that's what you're there for.
Again, it's a very good tool, right, to get over your shyness if you are just showing interest and try to like find out about the other person. It's a great icebreaker to,
Right,
instead of like, oh, how do I present myself? How do I look
right,
best? Just to like focus on the other person helps me a lot because
right,
I'm anxiety prone, right? So I had to learn all these tools, and you can trick yourself. Which
right.
is, hey, it's not about you. How about it's about the other person? Oh, that works. It's like pitching, right? As a producer
Right,
for my own projects, it's tricky to pitch. I'm like nervous. But if I
right,
have to pitch for somebody else, oh my God, look at this amazing thing. This, you got it, blah, 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 blah.
right.
No problem. For others,
Well,
it's very easy for me.
that's so
But
wonderful.
I'm learning to like
Mm,
bring the same honor to myself. I'm still
mm.
learning. And I think that's like, a,
Yeah.
a process.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's easier with
Yeah.
motherhood as well because you want to set an example as well to like,
Mm,
you know,
right,
don't put your light,
right.
don't
Yeah,
hide it. It's like not smart either.
right. Well, you are doing a beautiful job, and I'm so proud of you, and I'm so happy to know you because you're doing so much, and you're so giving, and so full of love and light. And and yet you have that firmness of making sure the job gets done. You're not a pushover, and and people need to realize that you can still be, still have your boundaries, still be firm, still, get, be able to be in charge and know that everyone's still loved, everyone's still valued, and you have that respect for everyone too. And I think a lot of people confuse it, like we said earlier on,
Yeah.
oh well, she's a bitch, but I really got the sense that you're making everyone feel included, and this is what was the color of paint you wanted. You didn't want red, you wanted blue, and you really brought that out beautifully. And I I hope we get to work together again.
Of
I
course.
thought it was a wonderful experience, and just the people around you too. I could really see how there was this unity, and I want to see more of that with more people.
Mhm.
And I just think that you're doing it, and I'm very proud of you. And so
Thank
thank
you.
you.
I get great joy from it, especially when it comes to actors because I am an actor. to help them have that moment, right? We all want to have that truthful moment, as I mentioned earlier, and that's something we can really not predict. And I love when that comes together. And the actors, it's like it's not like having a baby together, but like a little moment baby, and we're creating this together. And by me being the observer and like picking up when it's like something freezes up, and help them to get on a different and there it flows, and boom, there's the moment, and the tears spritz out of their eyes. And it's like, yes, because you take that with you as an actor, and you're like, oh, I got it on that production, and from then forward, it's so much easier, because you understand all you have to do is just to relax and really let the lines hit you and see what goes on in that moment, right? If you're alone or with another actor. But what is the scene about? Because we all cry, we all are afraid, we all have anxiety, we all have all those things going on. But when it's action time, right, like it gets all complicated, because we forget to just like relax, just let the words hit you, and be honest. Be truthful.
Right. And I think that's
too much stress. So it's like distracting, the stress on set, especially if you don't trust, and like, what are they looking at? And how's my hair? And they're going to see I put on 5 pounds, and my breath smells. All these distractions. I'm sweating.
I've heard stories.
I experienced stories of utter insecurity.
But I think what you said there too, I think if you can apply that to life also, of just, being that groundedness and that state of allowance, and not being caught up in fear, I think that can really shift so many things. I know we've had quite the past 14, 15 months filled with a lot of fear, and there's even more fear still happening. But to just find that space of love, self-love, connection to God, and that groundedness, and just know that if you're in that state of allowance of love, it's all possible. So I love that can happen on set, but then to take it outside in your real life. And I feel you do that. You take that and you live your life that way. And I would like to see more people do that.
It gets kind of addictive, because I don't have like a necessarily easy life. It sounds also easy and flopsy. I have like tons of problems, right? But what is really great is that I have come to a place where, when challenges occur, and they're quite they happen, I still can be joyous. Sounds a bit weird, right? Because like, I'm within myself, I know I'm trying my best, I'm trying to be kind, and even if I'm not happy with what's happening, I can still be joyous. Because if in the end of the day, a lot of people get triggered by the word God. I notice in conversations, because there's this whole, same with acting, right? Like the scene, all these distractions, God, church, abuse, pedophiles, I don't know what people like think of, Catholics, blood. When they hear God, they have all this trauma happening. But for me, God really equals joy, right? And so I take time to talk to God. Like when I'm in my joyous place, I meditate and connect. And there is this voice, call me crazy, I don't care. But that voice is very joyous and kind, ever nurturing. And there's also that other voice, right? The other one, everybody's doing it, you should do it too, take advantage, whatever. I've learned to tune that out, right? I figured out how to separate those two. And so the voice of wisdom, some may call it your inner self, and that's surely a part of it. But there's like another realm, because when you go to the, what is life, what is death, where do we go to, why are we here? So there's a realm beyond the inner self, the higher self, right?
I agree.
So
I agree with that.
And that has a voice, and it's not just in my
Right.
brain. I used to think that when I
Mm,
decided to become an atheist, right? Because it was
mm,
13 and I went to the super smart school and philosophy, and yeah, but
uh,
faith is for stupid people who can't figure out where thunder and lightning comes from, right?
mm,
Oh, it was God. So I was like, was I just praying to myself all those years and make myself feel better? Like auto-suggestive, like positive thinking? Oh no. But then when I stopped it, did I
mm,
figure out that it's way more than
mm,
positive auto suggestions,
right.
because there's a the inspiration again, right? Something that
Mm,
lights up your path,
mm,
something
right.
that's beyond your knowledge, that is
Right.
accessible to us at all times. And that's when we develop this personal relationship to God. Call it joy, call it
Mm,
creator, whatever you need to.
right.
But it's
Yeah.
definitely there. Long
Well,
sermon. Hallelujah.
no, it's definitely not. And it feeds into everything you do, and when you have that joy and that connection, more comes, and I think as more and more
Gets
people tune into it.
clearer.
Yeah.
It's get clear. It's like sifting, right? Like
Right.
what do you listen to? And that's also that
Mm,
trains your instincts, and with people as well, And it's interesting, you
mm,
talked about so many jobs. I recently just learned to
mm,
also step away from jobs.
right.
Right? That was a toughie because I'm a people pleaser. I want everybody
Mm.
to be happy, unless I'm directing. But as a
Mm,
producer, and as a and as an actor as well, so there was the
mm,
first project where I'm like, oh wow, we brought this
mm,
to the finishing line, but I want to have my name taken off, because I looked at the cut and I like analyzed the
mm,
vibe that we experienced on set, and like how
mm,
people were with each other, and I was like, this
mm.
is like in that film, and the film has there's nothing, there's no hope,
Oh,
this is just darkness. And I did
yeah.
that.
Oh,
I don't want people to look at that and think, mm.
well,
So that was
I
not
had,
nice.
yeah,
Definitely didn't make a friend there when I did
yeah.
this.
But it was a learning experience, though. I mean,
Hmm.
you had to have that experience and see that for what it was, and then make the choice. And I like to think everything happens for a reason, whether it's something you like or dislike. You're given the choice to make that decision of what to do, how you feel about it. you
Right.
know and so in a way that's kind of good. I mean, I get what you
Right.
mean about
I'm
taking it.
super grateful that I did it, because it opened a ton of other doors where I was like, oh, this weight was lifted off my chest of
Right.
all these negative emails, and like, oh,
Mm.
me always trying to make peace between everybody. And I was like,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
if somebody Googles this project and finds my name attached to it and trusts this project
Right.
group that
Right.
has negative energy going on, and they go
Right.
there because they see, oh, female filmmaker, purpose-driven content,
Right. It
I
doesn't.
can't take the responsibility.
Right.
And yeah, it was hard. I was like
Mm.
scared to do it, and but it turned
But,
out to be the right choice.
well, good. But that's just that you made a choice. You made a conscious choice, which, a lot of people feel like they have no choice when we always have choices. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, so that it takes courage to make choices. It takes courage to really see beyond what it appears to be. And so you took that step, and I would love to see more people see beyond what appears to be, so they can make that choice and have the courage to take that next step. you
Right.
know Instead of being, it's like, well, you did this, you put it to film, you put in all these hours and time, and of course your name should
Right.
be on it.
And your name,
Well,
you're like the producer
yeah,
on the whole thing as
yeah,
well. And you're like, oh, and
right.
you don't see it. Often you get thrown into a situation, and
Mm,
also with people, where it's instantly super nice. And then there's this point where it turns. And
mm,
I've been very rigorous with my friendship over the last 10 years, I'd say, where I started to not tolerate, latching on anymore, where it's always negative talk, and it doesn't have to be necessarily about me, but I came to conclude that if a friendship doesn't inspire me, there can still be friendly acquaintances, but they are not really friends when it's this one-way street of one person listens and gives advice, the other person like says yes but doesn't listen. And it's always like negative, and it drains you, and you feel worse after you met them, or you like worry, you know. So that might come across as kind of cold, or like giving up on people, but it's self-protection, and it's part of those choices, right? And
well, what I think is good about that though is by setting your boundaries about what does not work for you, you're giving that person an opportunity to see what they're doing, you know. And so if you didn't do that, and they could just go on and on and on, and then not see it because everything is just the status quo. So you are giving
nothing
them
comes of it,
right?
Yeah. Nothing comes of it. It just continues like this, and your time, like my time as the giver, the nurturer, just like
you're doing too much.
And I must say, for friendship, I'm talking about the inner circle, because obviously, like, we are all flawed, and we all have our issues, and we all don't blah blah blah. So that doesn't mean that makes this person a worse person. It's just for that inner circle of when you have to make a choice about how you spend your time and how to stay in a joyful mode. You need to be surrounded, you know. In my recovery, I learned, which really stuck with me, that we are a little bit like iron, right? Like iron, neither we are close to the fire and we get warm, you know, like we take on the vibe, or we are like in the freezing cold and are all stiff. And so we take on, you know, like my dad, with piece of wisdom from my dad: show me your friends and I can tell you who you are. And there's a lot of truth to it. And as I said, it's the inner circle. We can be friends with the whole world, but that inner trusted circle that you go for when you seek advice, or
So what if you don't have any friends? What would your dad say?
If you don't have any friends,
what would your father say?
If I didn't have friends, what was the question?
No, so your father said he could tell what kind of person you are based on your friends, but what would he say if you didn't have any friends? I'm like,
I can tell you.
Yeah. Okay. What would he say?
What does it say about you if you don't have any friends?
Right now, either that person's incredibly smart and doesn't want to put up with anyone else's stuff, or he's really horrible to be around. So it's like, okay.
I know a few people who said they don't have friends. Sorry.
That's all right.
Getting another call here. I'm back. And all I can say is there's a reason.
Well,
my husband keeps on calling.
All right. Okay.
Cute.
All right. He wants to. You
maybe we should take it now.
You have a family. I know.
I'm back. I'm just like declining.
He's like, Anabelle. Anyway, I appreciate you so very much. I've had you on for an hour now, so thank you so very much. And Anabelle Munro with the most important films at actiononfilmfest.com. People can go to that website, find your site under all the different festivals. There are quite a few, which is a benefit, because if you get in one, you'll get a chance to be part of, all the activities going on with the others. You are teaming up with the great Las Vegas Asian Film Festival. That's going to be very exciting. I'm excited because you have so many different
fest. It's like multiplied success, right? Because it is all about the people in the industry that like you. And we have found a group of friends that likes each other, and we're all independent filmmakers, award-winning directors, producers, blah, blah, blah. And we all get excited about helping. So it's just this multiplied army, right? But helmed by Del and Teresa Weston, who are like their own amazing entities of giving.
They are amazing.
creative
And it's all about the
people.
art. And it really will be a cultural event this year.
Yeah.
I mean, with so many different things. And I am so grateful to you. Thank you, Anabelle. People, okay, meet us in Las Vegas. Let's go. Vegas, baby. Yeah.
I love Vegas.
All right, my dear. Have a great time with your family tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Mwah. Love you very much. And
Love
I
you
will
too.
talk to you soon.
You're amazing. And thank you for giving me this platform.
Oh,
Mwah.
always, always. And I want you back. I want you
Yes.
back. And I want to talk with your team about the way to perfection and get people
Yes.
on and have it as live thing. So we will set that up hopefully this month. And people, we will keep you guys posted because it's going to be all about how we make it happen. All right. Thank you, Anabelle.
Amazing.
You have a blessed
Thank
week.
you.
Happy Mother's Day. Mwah.
To you too.
All right. Bye.
Bye.